Welcome. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. and I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in to try to figure out more about your dog and coming along on this walk with me. It's not going to be too much to see you today because my dogs are going to be just walking, where are they? Right next to me. We're working on them to be able to understand what I guess the dog training community calls is the heel position. Because I got to be able to get my dogs to understand what to do when they're unsure of what to do. So I like to be able to have them just walk with me. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna straight up say something, I'm gonna be honest. I still don't 100% know how to convince the dogs to walk with me, other than just me and my brain just saying, this is what I want from you. So it's something that just, I'm gonna say just naturally starts to happen one day. When your dog is pulling and pulling and pulling, and then your dog just starts to not pull so much, and then your dog starts to just not have to sniff and pull so much and starts to do it, the dog kind of just naturally just walks with me. So as far as when they're doing this pull with me, that's something that is much more challenging for them to do as opposed to just walking with me. They just primarily walk with me the most of the time. But on the trail like this, it's fine because there's more space. But the single lane trails, I need them to walk ahead of me. So it's a little bit of a difference. When there's space, they just walk with me. I don't train it, I don't teach it, I just walk. And they just start to do it because I believe that it's something that is just, at the end of the day, natural for the dogs to do. It's natural for a dog to pull for a purpose, for a job. But then for as far as just like when we're said not working and just hanging out, like my Dalmatian, when she's not working, she's just hanging out, she just walks with me. But when she's like, I want to work, I want to do something, she'll get to pulling because that's just what's in her to want to do. Same thing with like a lot of Huskies and Malamutes and a lot of these dogs. They just like to pull because they have that's their work that they want to do. But at the same time, they're not ready to work 24/7. They like to work some and they like to be able to have some sort of like, I guess I could say, relaxation where we're just hanging out. Hanging and being is what I want to call it. And hanging and being is something that I want more people to just really think about when it comes to being with your dogs and doing stuff with your dogs. That a lot of times, man, straight up, there's some people that don't do nothing with the dog. Nothing, I mean nothing. You don't even want to walk it. You don't even want to worry about exercising it. You don't want to worry about none of its needs, nothing. And there's some people, you just do too much. And in reality, the people that are watching this video right now, more than likely, you're on the side of you do too much. Maybe you just do a little bit too much. And that's what's confusing your dog. And confusion is, at the end of the day, something that I just have to continue to keep talking about, which is frustration. Because frustration is something that is just very damaging for dogs. Because we're doing too much and the dog doesn't know what the heck is going on. And that's why for me, even if I am going to, like said, teach a specific obedience command, I'm going to just work on one for months and months, if not a whole year even, just so that I can really get that to be really good. And so that they just really understand exactly what it is that I'm looking for from them. So if you want your dog to know how to wait at the door and not to burst out that door, I would just work on that and that alone over and over, not worrying about anything else. Because the other stuff is what I believe is bringing the dogs into the confusion, which brings out the frustration. Because when you're like doing, in one training session, you're doing sit and down and heel and all these little things. The dog is not sure of like which one you want now. And especially in the first beginning stages, the dog is like trying to learn all this stuff. So you're just trying to, I'm going to say like fast track it all to the dog really quick. This is why a dog where you say sit and it downs, you say down and it sits, and you say stand and it downs, and it's just doing all this weird stuff with the words that you're saying because you're trying to like push the dog too fast, too soon. And that's something that I don't think a lot of us are really understanding with these dogs, because I get it. We want it now. We want everything right now. I want my dog to be perfect right now. I want my dog to be amazing right now. And I don't have no 2 years, Mark, to worry about getting my dog there. I need it right now. And I'm going to say to you, get rid of the dog, if that's what you think about. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take more time than you even think that you feel like you even want to put into it type time. That's how you get the nice things on this planet, the time. And the patience and the willingness to continue to keep on going and not putting too high of expectation on stuff that you, again, I'm going to keep saying is you put a high expectation on these dogs, but not as high expectation on yourself. And it's something that I think is challenging us as human beings more than anything else. And the main thing about doing too much is that's where the frustration comes, because a dog doesn't know how to, the main thing is complete what it is that you're asking for. So that's why I want to spend so much time on doing one thing. So far, all I've been spending my time on, especially say with my Dalmatian, is going for walks. I never asked her, because I just started doing that down thing, and she looked at me like, mainly I stopped that because she's looked at me like, dude, you put hands on me, I'm gonna put hands on you. And I ain't trying to get no hands put on me by no dog. And I'm not gonna try to beat the dog into submission to make sure that it doesn't want to do that to me. it's going to ruin everything that we got going on. So I just got out of that. I said, okay, we're just going to walk now. All we're going to do is walk. And that's what I do with my German Shepherd, because he gave me that language day one. And he's already proven that he knows how to bite people. And he looked at me like, I'm about to do that to you if you try to do anything other than what I want to do right now. And that's what got me into really understanding the difference of how to be able to have what I believe is a pretty nice dog. Not a perfect dog. Not this dog that is just, because the main thing that I want to use here, the language, is an obedient dog. I don't want a nice obedient dog. I want a well-behaved dog. A dog that it could just do what it has to do. So like right now I'm just walking, we're going for a walk, and I want my dogs to just hang out. I'm not demanding nothing, I'm not forcing nothing, I'm just walking. And they're with me. And I don't need to worry about anything. That's what I'm looking for out of the dogs. When I say a nice dog, not a dog that knows how to do a sit stay in the middle of this traffic road over here and cars are just driving by and that's just what's going on with them. I don't care about stuff like that. I don't care about a downstay when I'm at a festival or something and my dog is just sitting in a specific down position the entire time and people are walking by and I can see that the dog is being stressed and being worried. I don't want any of that. I want my dog to be nicely behaved, knowing how to be able to dance around the planet without having to worry about what's going to happen because they didn't do something correctly. That's what I believe is the most horrible thing that I see in what most people have with your dogs based on doing a lot of the obedient stuff. The dogs are unsure, and when they're unsure, they start to that's that confusion. That confusion is going to lead to frustration, and that frustration is what majority of people today are seeing with their dogs. You're seeing a dog that is just extremely on edge. It's on edge. It doesn't know. So that's why sometimes you walk past a dog and it barks and goes ballistic, and other times it's just a little bit, and other times it just completely ignores it. Sometimes you walk out of the house and the dog is perfectly fine. Sometimes you leave and the dog is just going ballistic because the dog is confused about what's going on. And that confusion is what creates that frustration. And frustration is just not a good thing at all for anything on this planet to be in. Because something that I could just put with that and just give you a real world example of something about us is even with human beings is imagine going to a store, a furniture store. We got the IKEA store around here. Yeah, you're from the United States, you definitely understand what I'm saying. These IKEA store where everything you buy, you got to put it together. I don't think they sell a single thing. I even bought a light fixture from there once and you had to put the whole light together. I'm like, what the heck? There's not a single thing in that store that you don't have to put together. So imagine going and getting to the store and getting this thing and bringing it home. And you know, you're one of those do-it-yourselfers. You don't need to read the instructions. You just go ahead and slap it all together. You make it happen. So you start putting it together, and then you start running into a situation like, I don't have all the screws that I think I need, or something going on here. I don't know what's happening. So then you go into finding the instructions because you're like, okay, clearly I don't know what I'm doing. So then you go to the instructions route, and then you go to the instructions and you realize, hey, I am missing some screws. And this is where that frustration creeps in because you are not able to complete what it is that you started. You are now in a situation that everything that you've been working for and been doing is for absolutely nothing because you weren't able to actually get to the final destination. You weren't able to actually satisfy the whole thing. You weren't able to make it happen. You're halfway finished. So that frustration creeps in. But then imagine this. Imagine you were like, you go back to the box and you go and find and you look around and you're like, there's some actually more screws right here. And then you find it and that frustration turns back into excitement. Because you're excited when you first started putting the thing together because you're like, oh my goodness, like I know I'm going to get this. I'm going to make this happen. So you're excited about getting it done because, of course, you're not more than likely buying something to put together because you're mad at it. Well, you might be, but you get back into that excitement because now you're able to actually, get it put together. So that frustration goes away, and it goes away instantly because now you're able to complete the entire cycle of what's going on. So then that's the main thing that I want more people to really think about when it comes down to your dogs. If your dog isn't feeling like it's able to complete the whole cycle of what's going on, it's going to lead it into frustration because it doesn't know what to do. And then it's going to keep on trying. It's going to keep on trying. So what do some of us do? This is something that I can say I'm guilty of being a little hostile in my life before. And that would be something that's putting that shelf thing back together. I'm going to say, oh man, frustrated, don't have enough screws. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to go in my garage and go see if I can find some other screws that maybe I can make it work. And I might be able to just the words I used to use, but I'll ghetto rig it, man. I'll figure it out. I'll just slap something this, I'll slap something that, and I'll just finagle it, make it work, figure it out. And then I go to the garage and I go to where the screws are at and I can't find the screws. I'm like, wow, man. So then another level of frustration starts to creep in. And then you get to the point that you start looking more and more for these screws. And you're like, I'll go to this place, I'll go to this place. Oh, actually, they're in the drawer in the house. And then more frustration starts to creep in. And now you're just adding more and more and more layers on top. And then you know what happens? You find one screw in one random weird place in the bathroom drawer in the bottom. You're like, yes! And that little bit of excitement comes. And then you're like, oh, I only have one, but I need 8 more. So then that frustration creeps back in. That's the concept of what's going on here with when we're training our dogs. We give them a little bit of a dose of like, yes, I found a little bit, got a little, but it still wasn't good enough. It still wasn't able to complete it. So I'm right back to figuring this all out and trying to go this and try to go that. And then you know what worst case scenario happens? I don't know how many people have done this. I can't be the only person on the planet that's done some foolishness like this. But you try to like use this different screw that wasn't supposed to be for that screw. So then you try to like put it in the little table thing to make it work. And now you've broken the table. Now you can't even return the table because now you broke the table. Not only because it didn't have enough pieces, but now you just snapped something and something ain't right. So you try to turn it back in. They're gonna say, hey buddy, like what is this? What are you doing here? And now you altered it, so now that it's no longer able to be returned. Now your frustration is like exceptionally high. And now you're going into what I'm going to say is no longer just that simple frustration, but I mean, this is a silly table. You shouldn't go into rage about this, but you go into a rage and you start to yell, you start to throw a fit, you throw it down, you leave a receipt, you're like, forget this store, I'm going to leave a bad review and I can't stand all this is just madness. And that's the cycle of what really starts to go on here. And that's something that we should all be really thinking about when it comes down to these dogs. You give them a little bit and then you end up messing it up in some sort of way. Or for instance, you get the dog too scared about something in one sense with one thing that you're asking for from it. And then now you're working absolutely completely backwards. And then now you're running into a scenario that you're like, I don't know what's going on. How do I fix this? And then now you can't, because now it's broken at this moment. So now you just gotta scrap it. And this is something that I don't know why a lot of people say in the dog training world. If your dog doesn't come back to their name, just change their name. So then now they'll come back to come back to no. It was just a simple thing in the beginning that the dog just didn't want to do what it wanted to do, and you just I hate saying it like this, but just mess it up short term with what it is you're trying to do. And you got to change it up and do something different. And it's something that a lot of us are going through with our dogs. That the dogs are the dogs are running into a scenario that we're trying to get them to like do something, but we're not we're not allowing them to be able to actually be able to fulfill that entire thing that we're asking for us to do. So then we run into that case that the dog is just spinning in circles. It's spinning in circles, it's going in circles, it's just going round and round and round and round and round and round, and it's getting absolutely nowhere because the dog has no idea what's going on with it to be able to get in a sense of like just completed the job. So the dog is just continuing to keep on moving over and over and over, going and going, spinning and spinning and spinning, wonder and trying, guessing. And it just gets to the point that it has to, for whatever reason, it has to quit. It has to give up. It has to fight back. It has to protest. It has to get disobedient. It has to just continue to keep on just getting pushier and pushier. It has to. It has no choice but to, because it doesn't know what the heck is going on here. And that is not anything of healthy to be a part of. That is not anything that we should be in. And this is the difference where I'm going to say with us humans and dogs. Us as humans, I can make a decision. I'm missing 8 screws from that desk. Okay, well, I'll just take it back. I don't care. I'm moving on. And we can think that through and process that. But the dogs are not capable of doing such a thing. The dogs are like, whoa, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And that's why most dogs are all jumping all on you and all in your face and all up on you, because they're just like, what are we doing? What are we going to do? What's happening? Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? As opposed to the dog just saying, oh, this is what we're doing. We're laying here. We're going to hang out. Oh, this is what we're doing. We're going for a walk. Oh, this is what we're doing. We're eating our food right now. Oh, this is what's happening. And the dog just will completely calm down and relax, because it knows what's going to happen, and it's very clear and it's very obvious and it's very simple for the dogs to be able to understand. But as far as the dogs running into that scenario that they understand what to do, that's where I think that we need to, for one, slow down a lot with what it is that we've got going on, and stop thinking that we're going to just continue to keep on working the dogs in 15 different commands all day over and over and over, and the dog not understanding a single one of them, and just keep going into the sense that the dog is finally just going insane. Just take steps back and stop doing so much, and just focus on something. Focus on one thing. Focus on just something simple and easy in reality up front for the dog to understand. And then once you're able to really get that really good, then we can go ahead and upgrade to doing something else. So as far as like getting your dog to wait at the door again, work on your dog waiting at the door and don't worry about anything else until your dog is basically, I'll say, a master at that. They are just like the professional at that. You open the door and the dog looks out like, oh, it doesn't care. It's meaningless. Spend all your time on that. And don't even worry about walking. Don't even worry about the perfect this and the perfect that and the sit and the this and that. Just focus on that one thing and just dial that in. And I'm telling you, you're gonna watch how everything is gonna start to get better and better and better because the dog is going to understand very clear what it is that you're looking for. And that's what brings the dogs to be nice and calm, nice and relaxed, is they know what the rules are. And this is why the unfortunate thing that I'm gonna say is most dogs that are being trained with all of this obedient stuff are actually the most disobedient dogs because they're in that level of confusion which pushes them into frustration. And that's why the people that would, I'll say, not do nothing. You got to walk your dog. You got to do stuff with your dog. You got to take your dog places. You got to interact with your dog. You got to make something happen. You can't just have the dog and just put it in your apartment and leave it in the back corner and just do absolutely nothing with that dog. That dog is going to be, at the end, probably way worse off than a dog that you're doing too much obedient stuff with. But most of the dogs that I'm seeing that have like a lot of issues, kind of even more than the dog that's just left in the corner and no one does anything with, are the dogs that are trying to learn so much of this obedience stuff. The dogs are so confused. They just don't know what's going on. They're always on edge on the leash. They're like, I don't know, am I gonna mess up? Did I do it right? Did I do this? And I don't care if you're not using leash corrections or not. And if you're only using treats, because at the end of the day, for me, I still would rather physically touch my dog than emotionally get into their brain with playing with the treats. So that's why I still, for me, if I gotta go towards like doing a correction to a dog, per se, of telling him like physically doing, I'd rather physically do it than play some mental game to get my dog into a level of confusion. Then now it's thinking like it's not gonna be able to eat because it did something wrong. And that's where that resource guarding really starts to kick in, because that dog says, hey buddy, I gotta eat, I gotta do something. And that's where I see a lot of dogs are just so messed up. That day one when I was walking with dogs and trying to help people with dogs, I just called it leash confusion. I was like, your dog doesn't know what to do on this leash. It doesn't know what's expected. It's on this leash and it's just all over the place. It has no idea of what's going on here. It has no idea of what the heck we're even doing right now. It's like, it doesn't know. So then once I show that dog what we're doing with this leash and what we're about to do, and we keep doing that day after day after day, it gets that dog out of that confusion. And then the dog turns into just a nice regular hangout. It's chill because it knows what's expected. It's able to just say, okay, if I this, then that. If I'll go over here, then this. If I act like this, then this. And that's where we're able to have a very, very nice, very calm, very relaxed dog, because it knows everything that's going on. And it's not just trying to figure it out, because we showed it exactly everything that we're looking for from it. And that's why for me, I'm just gonna continuously keep on saying the concept of do nothing with your dog, but not the concept of do nothing on just leaving it in the back room and not interacting with your dog, but doing stuff with your dog, expecting nothing, but just doing stuff. And it might sound confusing there even again, but just doing stuff in the way that you're not trying to add anything extra to what you're doing. So if you go for a walk, just go for a walk. Don't worry about I gotta stop every 15 seconds to give him a treat. Don't worry about I gotta stop every 15 seconds to give him pets. Don't worry about saying, hey, good boy, good girl every 15 steps. Just go for a walk. And just go for a walk and go for a walk. Let the dog be able to see that, oh, this is what we're doing. We're just going for a walk. This leash, we're on this leash. Oh, this is what we're doing. Oh, I'm smelling, I'm sniffing, I'm able to go here and go. Okay, this is all that we're doing. Let them see that over and over and month after month after month. Allow them to just see that so that there's no confusion on, oh, the leash means this time and the leash means this time. Just keep it very, very, very just the same on the same on the same, so that the dog can just be able to get in its brain that this is all that's expected. If I get to pulling, you're gonna basically, whatever method that you wanna go to right there, you're gonna stop, you're gonna chill, you're gonna hang out, you're gonna pull the dog back to you, you're gonna stop, you're gonna walk up to the dog, you're gonna stop, you do whatever method that you wanna do there. There's an unlimited amount of methods on here. I just don't stop giving them anything extra. Don't add anything to it, but just have the leash is already enough to explain to the dog what it is that we're looking for. It's already enough. You don't need anything more than that. And just continuously keep on working on just one thing over and over and over. Because a lot of what I'm seeing today, and I just keep on watching over and over all these videos on how to get your dog from being reactive. They're talking about like setting up like 100 different games, man. Do the up down game, the spin game, the this and this game, the this and this game. The dog is just like, what the heck is, I understand it for us as humans. We can process that. But the dog is, you're doing way too many. You have 50 or 100 different games on how to get your dog to stop barking at another dog. So the dog doesn't know what to expect. As simply as the dog starts to get, say, triggered, the dog starts to get to, and that's where you got to be proactive. Get the dog before it gets to that point. You see your dog getting to that point, you do something. You interrupt that. You stop, you hang out, you get some distance. A lot of times up front is get some distance, not walk backwards. I don't like the backwards. I don't want them to think that we're running away from it, but we'll just do an arch around. We'll get distance. You do something, but you do something every single time, over and over and over, so that the dog can be able to see like, oh, okay, this is just what we're doing. This is just what it is. And then the dog's like, oh, okay, I could do that. So if I get to the point that I want to think about lunging and going at that dog, if I just come back to you, that basically like relaxes the whole situation. Allow the dog to see that over and over and over, and allow the dog to be able to do that on its own, as opposed to trying to add something extra to it. Because I totally understand the concept of how a lot of people are trying to say getting the dogs to hold on, she got to go potty. Getting the dogs to do all these different little games and all this different little stuff when we're sitting here trying to walk the dogs. But the main thing is the dogs we're asking too much, asking way too much for something that the dog just has absolutely no idea what it is that's going on. And that's what's confusing the dogs, and that confusion is what's putting the dogs and bringing the dogs into a very, very high level of frustration. And frustration is not something that is ever good, because when we're in that, we're not able to be able to, I guess I could say the best way of putting it is get what you want. You're not able to actually fulfill anything. You're just spinning in circles, getting more agitated, more irritated, and you're just getting absolutely nowhere. And that's where that extreme disobedience comes from. That's where that rage comes from. That's where that just crazy mass craziness comes from. That's when the dog turns into what it is, a dog. And it's no longer being a nice said member to society of being able to live where we live as humans. I can't allow my dog to just be a dog out here on this trail. All my dogs would, especially my Kahi, my shepherd, would already have bitten someone's tire, knocked him off the bike, hurt somebody if he was able to just be a dog. We can't allow these dogs to just be dogs. And this is where things are getting complicated, because we're trying to treat them as if they're like some highly intelligent 35-year-old man or woman, where at the end of the day, you can't do all these games with a 5-year-old kid the way that we're trying to do with dogs. And then we're trying to say that dogs are intelligent as a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old kid, but yet you couldn't put all these rules and all this stuff upon a 6-year-old kid and think that it would be able to keep up with what it is that we're asking for from them. That's why kindergarten starts off simple, and then we keep upgrading. But yet day one, we want to stick these dogs into like a calculus 203 class, thinking that they're going to be able to do it, when there's a lot to build up to even be able to get there. There's a huge foundation to be able to get there. And that's why I think that most dogs are struggling today, because we're putting extreme expectations, thinking that, oh, everyone is saying to do this and do the down and do the sit and do the heel and do the this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Get all these tricks mastered, get all this stuff figured out, do all this stuff. And that's going to be able to have a nice dog. And that's where the dog is confused, because it doesn't know what the heck to do. And again, the best way to be able to just test this out is tell your dog to sit, see what it does. If it sits and it stays in that sit and it maintains that sit, cool. Your dog understands exactly what it is that you're looking for with that one thing. And if the dog starts to do all this extra stuff, extra madness, your dog is confused and it's frustrated. And that frustration can look cute at first, but that frustration starts to become dangerous in the end. And that's where most dogs are when you start to, I need a dog trainer. Because when your dog is still just pretty much all right and it's manageable, it's not so, I don't really need any help. It's when my dog is doing some things that I'm kind of like, I'm a little scared right now, actually. I don't even want people over the house right now, because I'm actually not really sure what my dog is going to do to them. That's when the training comes in, where someone says, I need a dog trainer. And then when you said need a dog trainer, the first thing a dog trainer does comes in and says, okay, well, get place and get this and do this and do this and do this and do this and work on these drills 4 hours a day, and your dog's going to be good in about 4 weeks. And you come to realize in the end that actually now it's even worse, because now it's even more erratic. And now it's even more just wild is all that I could say. And that's why I believe that most people are struggling, because you're trying to do too much as opposed to just taking it back and doing less. You want a perfect walking dog, walk the dog. Simply walk the dog. Simply take them out. Don't try to do downs along the way. Don't do sits along the way. Don't do it. Just take the dog for a walk. Take them for a walk. After a while, the dog will just walk. This is just what I do with both of these dogs. So these dogs here, I just take them for a walk every single day. And there's times that we just walk, they walk with me. And other times that I'm basically trying to get them to like do what I'm gonna say is my work, that I have them pulling for me and they're doing their walk. We're just going for a walk, and they understand what these rules are with this walk. It's nothing that is this super complicated, nothing that is just, we don't know and unsure. We're just going for a walk. We're gonna continue to keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again. And this just brings an extreme amount of clarity to the dog and allows the dog to just be able to just hang out and just be able to relax. And that's something that comes by just being, for one, patient, and two, willing, and three, just let go of a lot of what you see someone else have and see someone else is doing, and do what you got to do and have what you got to have, because you don't know what someone else is doing at the end of the day. You just don't know. You don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know everything. You just know what you see in the moment. And what you see in the moment is primarily something that is not all that great and all that exciting. It's just, it's pretty for that moment, but then the reality kicks in. And once that reality kicks in, that's when you're like, I don't know if I actually really wanted that, to be honest. You know, I thought it was cool. I thought it was neat. I thought it was flashy, but at the end of the day, it's something that is actually very, very destructive. And it's something that, I don't know why we got people out here that are trying to show off some things. Like, oh, look how good of a trainer I am. I can get all these dogs to walk with me. But yet they still just don't show their own dogs. They don't have videos and stuff with their own dogs, them interacting with their own dogs. I can very, very easily make someone else's dog look really, really good, really, really fast. I can easily do that. I mean, it's so easy to make someone else's dog look good. But my own dogs that I'm with all the time, that's a whole different situation here. That's a whole different story. That's something that is a huge difference, because that's what I used to be able to do with a whole lot of people's dogs. I can take your dog and take it for a walk and make it look like a professional. I hand the leash right back to you, and the dog continues to keep on doing the same old mess again. But when you're with your dog, you're working with your dog, you're doing stuff with your dog, it's a whole completely different thing, because that's the dog that you're with all the time. And how does that dog respond to you? How does that dog listen to you? That's the part that we all don't get to see from majority of people. Majority of people are just hiding everything that they have, putting everything behind closed doors, and not really just exposing the whole scenario of everything that's going on here, the whole thing of everything that they're actually dealing with all day. And then they got to come on video and say, oh, everything's so perfect, everything's so great, everything's so amazing. And it's not. And I'm going to be the first to say that's not true with me and my dogs for sure. Because you've seen, I show my dogs, they ain't perfect. They do what they do, man. Like today, she's with me, but she's like, she like walking on the other side of the trail almost, where I'm trying to convince her to walk with me without being hooked up to my Kahi. But she's doing what she's doing. She's not perfect. She's not right next to my side. She's not like just pristine looking, focused heel and staring at me this whole entire time. And she's just walking, man. She's walking. She's got a little bit of leniency. She's got this leash. She can move around. She can do what she do. She's not in no perfect stance. And I don't want perfect. And I want everyone to understand that is not real, is perfect. What's real is you're just working on some stuff. But real is being able to have clear communication to the dog, clear expectations, clear rules, clear boundaries. And that way the dog is very easily going to be able to understand how to be able to stay up with you and how to be able to do what it is that you want them to do. So like right here, if I just want to stop, I just stop walking, and I want the dogs. Are they going to stop the exact second that I stop? Heck no. But they're going to know. We're just going to hang out for a moment. So now we're hanging out. I don't want anything extra in here, them to just do what it is that I'm looking for. And I want them to, the instant that I stop, they better stop right next to my side. That's just absolute foolishness. Foolishness that's being shoved to us that we think that we want because it looks cool in a 15-second video. But as far as the actually living with the dog, that dog is on edge. It's on edge. It's so on edge. It's so pushy. It's so needy. It's on edge because it's frustrated, because it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know how to make anything happen. And that's something that is very, very, very misleading. What a lot of stuff is going on out here that still, I don't know what it is, but ever since I even decided to even make my own silly videos, I always had it in me of having my dogs around, not someone else's dog, because there's something that is just real about that, because it's not so simple to make your dog look real good. These guys have on all their videos it's not so simple to have their dogs look the way that they can have someone else's dog look. It's not simple at all to be able to do that. That is something that is a lot more challenging, and it's something that more people should really just step up to the plate and start doing that. We're always showing this and showing that as if everything is perfect, and it's not. My stuff's not perfect. Right there, my dog I don't even know what the heck just happened right there. That's why I'm spinning around right now trying to get my leash from being tangled on me. I don't know what the heck, just stuff happens, man. We're just going for a walk. We're just doing what we're doing. And it's something that I don't know why everyone wants to try to be so perfect looking out there. And I think that that's what's messing up a lot of people and your expectations with your dogs, because we think that they have to be perfect, and we think that they have to be on this just everything's got to be precise and be right all the time. And that's not reality of life, because that's one thing I want to say to you and question to you. Are you perfect? Everything that you do always right. Everything that you do the right way. You never get frustrated. You never get angry. You never get this. You never get that. No, you have those times. But then the main thing is, when you run into those issues, you have to be able to have a way to be able to like say resolve it. And that's how we're able to get out of frustration. And that's one thing that I want a lot of people to think about. Stress, yeah, we all gonna be under stress. My dog's gonna be under stress. Everything is stress. It's stressful for these dogs to just walk with me, because it's not, I'm gonna say, natural to them. It's stressful for me to just simply walk down this road and do what it is that I'm doing right now, because it's at the end of the day, I'm gonna say it's not natural. I'm like in reality, just straight up killing time right now, just doing something that isn't a survival way of being able to live. So let's go add a little bit of stress to me, because I wish I could be this, I wish I could be that. But that's just a part of life. But frustration, we can get out of that, because we can be able to put a plan together to figure out how to be able to complete what it is that we're working on. And that's what we should be focusing our time on. And that's something that for humans, just a life lesson right now. If you frustrated, you need to figure out something. You need to put a plan. You need to start working on that plan. You need to start getting that plan and understanding how to get things written off from that plan. You need to keep on working and working and working. You need to have goals set up with that plan. That's how you're going to get out of the frustration, because the frustration in humans turns into anxiety the same exact way. And if you're always anxiety and always this and always that, more than likely you don't have a plan put together, because you're not able to actually complete anything that it is that you're trying to do. You're running in circles. You're like, I'm gonna get this done, but then you don't get it done. I'm gonna get this done, and you don't get it done. Something as simple as cleaning the house. You say, I'm gonna clean the house today, and you don't do it. I'm gonna do it the next day, and you don't do it, and you don't do it, and you don't do it, and you don't do it. Every single time that you don't do it, you're leading more and more into frustration. And when you get it done, you're just finally calm, you're finally satisfied, you can finally sit down and say, okay, well, everything is all good now. And that's something that I want a lot of people to just really think about. Thank you. And I don't know how these guys ended up on this side, but now they're on the other side doing what they do. Well, we just going for a walk. Just stuff we do each day. Each day it's something different. One day we're walking what the heck is this camera doing? One day we just walking a perfect walk, and then the next day we're pulling, and the next day we're just running and sniffing and gunning and going. And it's just, each day it's different days. But the main thing that we do every single day is the same thing. We put the leash on dog and go for a walk. And we just do this over and over and over and over and over again without adding anything extra to it. I don't add no sits, no downs, no stays. I add that weight, because that's my cue to say, hey, come back, because you're getting into something that I don't want. That's how I get my dogs out of squirrels. That's how I get my dogs out of bikes and cars and people and dogs and everything. Because when they think that they want to go, I can say, hey, come on back. And that's all I work on over and over and over. So my word that I use, that someone might say, oh, you add a treat to, I don't do none of that. I just say, wait. And that means the dog, we're stopping. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that. We're gonna continue to keep on going. We're gonna continue to keep on moving. That wait means to slow down, and then we go. Wait, slow down, go. Day after day after day, month after month, it just becomes what's absolutely normal. And then the main thing is, with this shepherd, when he sees people, he naturally waits. He doesn't just run up to people right away. I add the extra weight to just me being a human, just being on top of him. I'm not so much worried about the Dalmatian, but people get scared of this dog. So if he sees people, he automatically stops. He doesn't just walk up to them. He doesn't just walk up to dogs, because year after year after year, I'd say to him when he sees stuff like that to wait. And then he knows to just stay here. That's all that I want to focus on. And then once he knows that really good, now I can say down in the distance. Now I can, because my new thing I'm trying to do is go hide. That he got a dog that's looking wild, just go into the woods or run ahead or go do something. Just get out of the way. You don't need to be here. And then he's going to be able to just calmly dance around this world. And it's just, we work on one thing at a time, one thing, and get it so nice that you're like, I like this, and then go ahead and move forward. Thanks.